Good morning, good morning. I tell you, today it's raining outside, but I'm happy inside. I am. I'm so happy to be here with you. I don't know, but I'm going to give you a few minutes to come on into this space I'm in. I had a good weekend. It was a working weekend. The prior weekend, I did a new Facebook, section for someone for the book that we're going to release soon. And then this past weekend, which ended for me about 11:45 last night, I completed a new website, and I just can't even believe all the stuff that God has me doing through this pandemic. And so it really talks about the fact that sometimes when we're given less opportunity to move around, good morning, Sharon, we're given less opportunity to move around, we really are given more opportunity to do something with our time that will be just totally invaluable. It's above, the value that we give it now, but later on, we just got it going on where we want to not only do everything, but we can use what we started with that looked like it was real small, and it ends up being absolutely great. Good, Sharon. I'm glad you're awesome. It's good to see you in my space this morning, your name. But the exciting thing about going forward is that during times when we're not doing much, we really should be sharpened. We really should be like iron against iron sharpens iron. And so this is an opportunity for you to come into the space, and hopefully you're going to get something from me and you'll say, wow, I didn't think of that, or I should do more with that. That's what I'm trying to do during this period of pause where people have been slow. The world is slowed in terms of, I know there's folks getting back out there now. I realize it. They're getting out there. I had to go to the market the other day, and it was absolutely crowded. It was crowded. Everywhere I went, there was a crowd, which tells me that some people, and a lot of them did not have on the face masks. And for me, I'm over that age where they're talking about we should take care of ourselves. I'm going to take care of myself. So, of course, I was out with my mask on. But the point I'm making is that we must take care of ourselves, and we have to look at it that when this pandemic is over and we have more leeway to move anywhere we want to go and who we want to be with, and as many people that are there we can certainly socialize with. But currently that isn't the way it is. So by that being that situation, we really want to talk about, wow, that's very interesting that I should do something about my movement forward while I'm still stationary. That's what I'm asking you to do. Do something with it. So, as usual, I give you a poem or a song. And this morning I have two poems that I found over the internet. They're not mine. Sometimes I will give you mine, but these are not. This first poem is by Valerie Worth. Oh, by the way, my name is Sandy Winborn. And I want to say not only good morning, but I'm going to ask the question, are you stuck? Yes, we are all stuck. We're stuck right now under quarantine, but there could be some other sticking things going on that keeps us in the house. And so, or at least less social. Good morning, Vanessa. So anyway, the first one talks about a safety pin, and I thought this was just so cute. It says, a safety pin, closed. It sleeps on its side quietly. The silver image of some small fish. Opened, it snaps its tail out like a thin shrimp and looks at the sharp point and a surprised eye. I love it because that's us. We're basically, we can lie flat right now. Lay it down. Not much is required of you, for those that don't have to work as hard in the office. You're still working, but you can slow it up enough to breathe, to exhale, to realize that there's something that you can be sharpened about during this period of time. That once we go back out, not only will you be sharper with it, you'll be sharper for it. You can do some things, and that would be wonderful. So my next poem is by William Sharp. I don't know how I came up with cute little poem from William Sharp, but I'm dealing with Sharp right now, which all talks about honing. Or, to hone something is basically to become intensely, good at it. That's your skill. That's your, and always staying on skills and all that kind of stuff. So this one is it's called The Vision. In a fair place of wind and grass, I heard feet pass where no one was. I saw a face bloom like a flower, nay, as the rainbow shower of a temperance hour. It was not man or woman. It was not human, but beautiful and wild, terribly undefiled. I knew an unborn child. Can you imagine? This man took it back down to the, good morning, Breezy. It took it back down to just the total level of our quietness. I'm always talking about the basement, the core of us. It's like not man nor woman, just quiet, just peace, just us. Even when I was out yesterday, there was a lot of noise everywhere. People asking for stuff, getting this, moving by, and all I kept thinking of is I'm enjoying the quietness of my house. The quietness, it allows me to do some things that I couldn't say no enough to others that were asking me to come, to stay in long enough to get some other things that I had to do. Well, I'm getting them done now. So anyway, those are my two poems for the day. Both dealing with Sharp, one the man, and the other one a sharp instrument. So today we're going to talk about the word of hone. When you hone something, that means that you're going to be intensely sharp about it. You're going to be on it. It's like it's your specialty. It is your reel, the pianist that may be a concert pianist, and they play every single note beautifully, and people wait for them to play because they may do it dramatically or whatever, but they've honed the skill. They've honed it. It might be the person who gives great, oratory presentations. They're captivating. You want to listen to every word. You hold on to it. Good morning, Miss Rosie. Good morning, Trisha. So you want to hold on to what they have to say. That would be somebody that they've honed this thing. They know what to do. They made sure that everything that could capture your attention was there. And then when they performed, whatever it was, it could be the writer that writes the best books that, you want to read every book that they would write. Such as I used to love Mario Puzo. I used to love his books. And when I lived in Italy, it was even more interesting because I was in Sicily. So I'm putting all these things together, and I would ask, boy, I wonder, are they crooked? I would be asking questions just about what the book was saying and, trying to catch up with it. And it just sounded wonderful, but it was intriguing. And I read all of his books while I was there. But if you hone something, that means you've really made it your own. And I'm asking you, what have you honed? You may be the best, car salesman. You may be the best home, representative, or you're selling homes. You may be the best beautician. But the thing is that you hone the skill. You make the skill yours. You make it where it is so vital that people want it. People want to see it again. They want to be involved in it when they want to deal with it. So anyway, so the H for hone in hone today is happiness. It's the state of being happy, the state of finding pleasure. And it doesn't say just pleasure in others, but pleasure in yourself. You're just you're pleased to be who you are. It talks about your cheerfulness, your merriment, your joy, your glee, your delight in who you are, your well-being, your bliss. And it says you also, your euphoria. You can be euphoric about just being you. You don't have to be anybody else or try to be like anybody else. You can take excitement in who you are and what you're all about. And so therefore that talks to your happiness. I always cherish the fact when I can make myself laugh and I'm trying to tell you a joke. I'm still tickled by it, but I'll tell it to you. Now, my mother was just the opposite. She could tell you something, everyone would be rolling, but she was a true stand-up comedian. We didn't know it. We just thought she was Lily. But she was a true stand-up comedian where she could tell you something and you would just absolutely be rolling with laughter. And she says, "What are you laughing about? I don't think this is funny." So, sometimes you have to know other people's humor and you have to know your own humor. And your own humor, to me, is good humor, because it says a person that can find happiness is also a person who has a tendency to live longer. So I'm going to find my happy. I'm going to make myself happy. I'm not going to worry about you making me happy. Now, if you add to my own happiness, then we both happy and I'm happy about it. So the next for the O, it's obstruction. That's the word today. I hope you have your pens and papers. I appreciate it. You stop in. I appreciate if you would, scroll, stop, certainly share this. Share this video. Everybody that comes in, share the video. And then, of course, stay. I would love it if you would do that. But anyway, it talks about obstruction. And it says obstruction is that thing that would impede or prevent passage, prevent progress, or the obstacle, the blockage that's in the way. And that's going to be your hurdle. You can't move around it. Sometimes you come up on something, it could be, it's so emotionally draining that you can't do anything with it, or it's too big for you to get around it, or you don't know what to do with it. But it talks about those are obstructions, and it says they're difficulties, they're hurdles, they're snags, they're drawbacks. They impede progress. They keep you from going forward. I'm asking you about obstruction. Write down that word obstruction, and we'll go back and with our questions as to what it could mean for you. The next word is the next letter, of course, in the word HOAN would be A, which is agility. And I realize that I'm not as agile as I was when I was in my 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Okay, don't have that going on anymore. But I have to talk about age-related agility. I don't want to be 80 years old and have pretty much put myself in a wheelchair only because as long as I could move, I didn't move. If it just required me to sit down and watch TV, then I don't want, to me, that's a fate. Good morning, Polly. I don't want that fate early in the morning. I want it to be that I'm pretty much moving as long as I can move, as long as I'm able to move forward, as long as I'm able to feel good about the fact that my limbs still are moving up and down, my feet still are able to carry my weight. I'm still able to see and hear. I'm grateful for all those things, but I have to talk about the fact is, have I pretty much, decided that by me not doing anything, that it stamps my fate on eventually not being able to do something. I want to be able. So every day I'm getting up and I'm deciding that I need to move a little bit. I need to move to the left or the right. I may even dance a little bit. I've been turning on DC Nice at night, and he puts on a great DJ he DJs a great music session, and I be up in here dancing, in fact, last night, I think it was September that I was getting off on, but I'm just saying, as long as I can move, I need to put some movement out there, that the body doesn't get used to being fixed in a position of being seated. I need to move, and so I'm looking at your agility, your ability to change motion, to have movement, to be rapidly moving if you can, within your age limit, of course, to be fit, to be coordinated, and to have some speed. Go to the maximum level of speed that you can go without, injuring yourself, and still giving your heart that ability to go up and go down, to rest, and then, or I think they call it recover, but also to exert and then to recover, because they said those kinds of things are the things that really cause you to live longer. And so we want to do that. We want to do that. And the last letter in our word of HOAN is navigation. And it says navigation is a process of activity. And it says that it really looks at accurately assessing one's position. So when we talk about activity, we want to talk about the fact that you want to be able to measure the amount of activity you can do. So I've kind of made it where, agility and navigation kind of go together, but not just the physicality of navigation. I'm also talking about navigating things in your mind. What are you thinking about while under quarantine? What are you doing? What are the concept of just sitting and letting the TV think for you, the radio hear for you. How about if you turn off the TV and turn off the radio and just start writing down something that really could be not only thought-provoking, but, what I would say life after quarantine to do. It just gives you a new attitude of looking at something and saying the glass is not empty, it's half full. And I would do it the fullness of what it is I'm in for. I know I'm in, but what can I do while I'm in? Move a little bit, measure out some things that I want to do later in terms of my navigating my life forward, looking at how I can plan it, how I can really look at, an entire course that I need to undertake to move forward. What is it that I need to do? What are my steps? Ordering it, I think it even says that you can order your steps, so that one foot after the other foot, or one, starting off with the outline and moving from an outline to, a paragraph or two, and moving from the paragraph or two to the, first chapter. Those things are talking about progression, navigating a way to get through from one thing to another. And I can tell you something for myself. I navigated this weekend, which was crazy, but one thing that I've learned along the way is that you can try new things. You can always try new things you've never encountered before. 4 years ago, I had somebody, was it 4? No, 5 years ago, somebody prepared my website 5 years ago. And, and I didn't know HTML. I didn't know all the inners and the outers, inward and outward and upward and downward of how to get into being able to put a website together. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, I did it. I did my own website this morning. I finished up this morning, but I worked on it the entire weekend, making sure I knew how to add pictures, add text, designated domain, all those kinds of things. Finding a designated domain for us. I did it all. For someone else, it's for their website, but the excitement is that I did something, I navigated something I did not know how to do. And once again, it was by encouragement. It was by a dare. I think you can do it. I said, well, I don't know about that. And I was getting ready to give people money to do it, but I did it. And it is out there. I'm so excited. So that would be your navigation. Just trying something that you haven't done before, figuring out how you can do it, and just doing it. That is it. That is it. That's all that's required. So for my questions, here's some questions for you. Hope you have your pen and paper. The first one says, are you really happy? Are you happy? Or are you just thinking that you're happy? Can you feel your happiness inside? What makes you happy? And you know what? I will give you this question not once, twice, but many times. Because what I'm trying to get you to do is seek out your own happiness. I know we worry well about others. We do, we do, we do. But our own happiness is vitally important for us. It's how we, to me, it's part of our infrastructure. It's our foundation. We should be, serving ourselves. It's great to serve others, and I know that I have always been a person of service. And I've told you that my mother and father, we did it all the time. But here I am looking at myself, and I said, I got to make myself happy too. Because if I'm happy doing something for me, then when I serve you, I'm going to show you a portion of my happiness, because it will come out of that. So I'm asking you, are you happy? Can you get in touch with your happiness and be honest about it? Good morning, Ronald. Can you be honest about all the things? Good morning, Grover. So can you be honest about, can I get down to my happiness? Was my happiness buried in my basement? Was it so buried that I didn't know how unhappy I was because I never went down there? What I'm trying to do is get you to come out about your basement, look at what you can sharpen in terms of what you can hone, what's yours. And if it's yours, nobody else can take it. Absolutely no one at all. And so the next thing talks about, do you have, or are you dealing with some current obstructions? What are your obstructions? I know right now that being in quarantine is obstructive for a lot of people. I know that. I get it. But I'm talking about after quarantine. Do you see yourself having some things that you would find, some hurdles to get over? How do you do that? Good morning, Sean, my nephew. How would you how do you get in touch with that? You have to go to it. You have to go to it and ask yourself the question and be honest with your answers. This is really causing me a problem. It may be where you're working at. It may be that the conditions for you aren't as good as the conditions for others. That's a problem. It may be that you don't have the best equipment. That would be a problem. Or it may be that some people have invited you in to do something, but really they want what you're doing, but they really don't want you. So and you're realizing that because the handwriting's on the wall that you're about to be let go of in terms of the circle, only because what you were needed to do, you came in and did. So sometimes you have to ask yourself, why is it that I have these obstructions, but I act like they don't exist? They do exist. Deal with them. Write them down. Deal with them. Confront them. This is my obstruction. This is my hurdle. This is my blockage. It's in my way. I can't get around it. I need to talk to somebody about it. I need to tell them this is not good for me. This is hurting me. But a lot of times we don't do that. We don't do it. The next thing talks about agility. How agile are you? And I'm not talking about you going out to run no marathon. No. I'm not even talking about you doing a 5K, walk, run. No. I'm talking about the fact that every single day you have to get up and move and do something. Walk around your house. Even if you're quarantined in your house, walk around your house. If you have stairs, go up and down the stairs 4 or 5 times, In fact, I think I saw it on TV where it recommended that if you're in the house and you have a sedentary job, working from home, that it recommended that you actually get up every time a commercial comes on and do something as long as the commercial comes on, moving of some sort, walking, in your house, moving, dancing, maybe a few jumping jacks, something that's going to get the heart rate up, but also treat you well, treat your body well on keeping you, mobile, keeping you having the ability for movement, And the last question is, how do you navigate things? Are you a navigator? Or are you constantly looking at, just like you can read a map? And map reading is probably one of those things that's probably somewhat antiquated now, because you can go to MapQuest or you can say, hey Siri, and they're going to give it to you. They're going to tell you, take a right, take a left, go up and go down. What I'm telling you is that you don't have a Siri in your head, that and you don't have a Siri in your heart. I'm telling you to get in touch with your heart and head and start doing some things that navigate a better future for you. Good morning, Lawson, my nephew. That give you a better future going forward. How do you do that? Well, you got to do it in such a way that it works for you. You're not worried about anybody else. You got to talk about what works for you. And I tell you, when I told you that I navigated a new system of learning how to do a website that I had never done before, I'm proud of that. So that was my new, navigational process that I never knew I had, didn't think I could do. So what absolutely has happened is that there's excitement with me with that. You can't take that away from me because I built it. I would have never known anything about myself like that. So sometimes investing in ourselves, putting time in ourselves, figuring out who we are during quarantine and beyond, what can we do? What's in that basement? What's at the bottom of us? What's at our core that we've kind of left behind? So much stuff is on top of it. Good morning, Francis. We've left so many things on top of it. Remember I was telling you about the princess and the pea. Now she could feel the pea, okay, but a lot of times we can feel that there's a pea down there, but we're not going. We're not going to deal with it. It's little. We're not going to deal with it. It can't be seen. We're not going to deal with it. It's hidden away. We're not going to deal with it. Deal with it. Deal with it. Get down in it. Figure out what it is. Make it work for yourself. Make it work. But unless you address it, you will never know what you can do. You never know. You underestimate the self that you've been given. But I'm telling you, rediscover the self you are. Rediscover it. Find out that, man, I have so many talents I didn't know I had. And technology has taken off some of the pressure and some of what they call the early on technicalness of trying to do the internet, trying to make a website, trying to do Facebook, all those things. Most people can do any of that stuff if you put your mind to it, if you put the time in it. Quit trying to play like it can't happen for you. It can. You have to decide that one, you're worth it, and two, you're going to do it. Worth and do ends up with completion, ends up with good results, ends up with, wow, I'm excited. I did something that I didn't know I could do. So anyway, those are my things for today. Once again, the poem was called, the first poem was called The Safety Pin. And the safety pin has a sharp edge, okay? Long as it's closed, it's calm. You open that safety pin up, boop, okay? If you don't get it closed again, guess what? It could stick you. So look at the safety pin. Look at our lives as being a safety pin. If we open up, we might have more areas to go into, more things to look at, more things to confront, more things accomplished. But we have to first open our lives up to trying new things. We don't want to just lay there and do nothing. Lay there and wait for someone else to open us up. Open yourself up. The other thing we did was the poem that talked about the vision, and it's by William Sharp, and that's the man named Sharp. But he said it wasn't the man or the woman, it was the unborn child. And that's what I'm asking you, to go back down to the raw of yourselves. How can you get there? You got to go. You got to say, you know what? I'm going to take an assessment. I'm going to figure out all these things that Sandy's been talking about with me. Because I've given you a lot of stuff now, because I think this is my 31st video. It's my 31st video, and in 31 times, every day I was giving you some questions, and I was giving you a poem or something that basically said, go back. Come on back. Figure out who you are before you come back out again. That's what I need you to do. I need you to do that. So when we talk about honing something, we're not just talking about the intensity of being as sharp as you can with that area, or that skill, that something that you do, only you do. And you're only going to do it your way. We want to talk about H is for the happiness. Happiness you feel, the happiness you find, the happiness you are. How gleeful are you? How delighted are you? How blissful are you? How euphoric are you? All these things pretty talk about you. I'm going to talk about the me and being happy, and I want you to talk about the you of being happy. Where's your joy? Where is your joy? So that would be what pleasure you find in happiness and life. We got to find it. We got to find it. Because what if this pandemic goes on through most of next year? That means we've had a year and a half of not socializing, or we'll say, desocializing. So that means there's also going to be a process to help us not be afraid of people when we see them on the other side, the flip side of them saying it's okay. Certainly, human beings want to hug, they want to love, they want to be close to people. But until the coast is clear, we have to kind of step back. The next area is called obstruction, and of course, you have to look at what's in your past, what's in your path, what is in there. Be honest. What's in your street, what can't you get beyond, can't you move around? Those are those kinds of things. Next thing is agility. Are you going to move, or are you going to just sit there? And I do have a couple of friends that say, girl, I ain't done nothing today. I ain't done nothing today. I don't want to tell them that sitting, causes more sitting. I don't want to be basically, shortening my ability to move if I don't move, But that's what happens. They said sometimes we get fixed. We get fixed into all our muscles have to be moving in some way in order for them to stay in shape. That's what I'm asking you to do. Look for finding some agility in your life. You don't have to be as rapid as agility sometimes speaks to, or speedy. My daughter, speaking of Speedy, my daughter used to have a turtle, and we named him Speedy. And I don't know, we were just being funny. But Speedy had nerve, to have a little speed on him, So where he going? Just over there to that lettuce. But anyway, that's all he did. He was speedy, though. If you gave him food, he was going to move. And the last thing, of course, is navigation, and how are you navigating? Not just physically, because we're somewhat restricted right now. But how are you planning to navigate once you leave quarantine? Will you navigate with a new mindset, navigating from that and from your heart, that are personal? What do you want to do? And then the questions are you really happy? How do you get in touch with your happiness? That was question 1. Question 2 is, do you have a current obstruction besides quarantine? Do you have one, or 2, or 3? And quarantine reminds me that, in college I had a roommate, and my roommate was, what do they call it when you, and I don't forgot, it just went out my head real quick. When you can't touch things, you're afraid of everything. That was her, germophobic. She was a germophobic. So everything that when you came by her, she was afraid of it, and she was the only person that before now that I knew that could go into a public bathroom, use the system, come out of it in such a way that when she washed her hands, she had also opened the door. She taught me how to do that, and throw it back in the garbage before the door closed. she was agile, okay? But anyway, and the last one talks about are you figuring out how to navigate your future? Have you figured out what some of those things should be? And if you have, what are they? I'm hoping that you enjoyed this time with me. I try to give you a good 20, 30 minutes, and I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 9 a.m. And you have a pleasant day. If it's raining where you are, find your happiness. Be agile. Look at your ability to motivate and navigate the world. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.